Everyone, welcome to another video. This is going to be a little bit short. I'm on my way to a perfume friend. We're going to do some perfume sniffing, but I just wanted to share a few things. We had a perfume meetup last week, and I'm thinking these perfume meetups, they're about like 15 of us, maybe 12 to 15 people, and we're all just spraying. We were outside. Luckily, the weather was good enough for us to be outside, because otherwise the house gets really stuffy of perfume. It's almost hard to breathe inside. But it really isn't the best place to really try perfume. It's a great way to socialize and to, do some swapping, and but it really should be swapping of fragrances that you sort of already know. Maybe you've tried them a time before, because there's too much fragrance in the air, in the air, and too much going on, and it's just not possible to get a good idea of what a fragrance is like in that kind of environment. But it's great fun. So at the last minute at this meetup, I bought a fragrance. I've already sold it. It's on its way now to a new person. And it's one of those fragrances that I think a lot of you out there might also be interested in if you saw it, because it's from L'Artisan Parfumeur, which I know is a really popular house. And the old vintage bottles that look like this. This is L'Eau d'Ambre Extrème. It's an amber fragrance from the same. Okay, so the one I bought at the last minute without really trying it, because I thought it was really safe. It's called Vanille Absolument, and it also has come out under another name called Vanille Havane or Havane Vanille, and it comes in a bottle like this. Only it was a 50, so it's a little bit more narrow. And the label, I think, was yellow or peachy. And so I just there was something else going on there. I thought maybe it's cacao. Someone said, oh, I think it has cacao. And I'll just, how wrong can you go with a vanilla fragrance from a popular house? Not that I don't have that many vanilla-oriented fragrances in my collection that are based on vanilla. But it's something that usually is never bad. And I bought it for 800 crowns, which is about roughly $80, maybe a little more than, let me see. I can never figure these things out. It used to be 10 crowns to the dollar. So, but it's roughly that price, which is a good price for a vintage bottle that's hard to find. This is a popular, I think, quite popular fragrance. But although it did not have very good ratings on Fragrantica, but I had not done any research. And then I was the only thing I had looked was that it was created by Bertrand de Chafour, which is, considered a master perfumer. But I think I've realized that his stuff is not my favorite. He has made a fragrance called, I think this is him anyway, Fête Paysannes from MDCI, which is a little bit too foodie for me. And then he's done another one called, God, it's something with India something. Someone says it really smells of India. God, I can't think of the name of the fragrance. It has a name. Oh, God, I will think of it probably. It's in the same series as, I think it's a Nila Vermeer creation fragrance. So it's a sister fragrance to Ashoka, which I really like. But he has also created that fragrance, and I find it to be, I think it maybe, I'll put it in the comments when I find it in my brain. Both of these fragrances are, I think, have dried fruits and some spices, warm baking spices type of, cloves, nutmeg, this type of thing. And I think it's just too much food, too foodie for me. Okay, so Vanille Absolument for me was not good. And I'm trying to think, what in this fragrance was it that was not good to my nose? And I think it might be the clove. Because I remember, or feel familiar with a fairly new fragrance from Frederic Malle, Heaven Can Wait. That also has an overdose of clove. And then there's another note in there that is a little tricky to me, that I somehow kind of missed when I checked it on Fragrantica. I did a 1-minute research before I bought it, and it's Immortelle. And Immortelle is a really strange note that can sometimes work. I think, for example, my Cacao Porcelana has Immortelle, and you can't really tell that it has Immortelle. But in this fragrance, this also has licorice and rum and vanilla, and someone wrote on Fragrantica, it smells like cardboard. but like in a good way. There are lots of good reviews on Fragrantica, but to me, these notes together just didn't work. To me, they almost had like a fishy smell, or something that was a little, some dryness, some maybe a clash of notes. I just could not bring myself. I was thinking maybe I should do a good review so I can show it to you, but I just, okay, I didn't like it. And I manage now already to sell it for the same price that I bought it for. So I think this is, it's already, I know, been with two of my friends, which is really interesting. So this girl called Sophie first had it, and then she sold it to Susanna, and now Susanna sold it to me, and now I sent it off to this other person that I don't know who it is, but she's in our community. So I think this might be like a trophy that, you know, will wander, because it is an odd fragrance. And are you familiar with Sunshine Man from Amouage? It did remind me a little bit of that too, because that has like that herbal twist to it, with immortelle mixed with vanilla, and of course a lot of other things going on, like a booziness as well. And it just kind of like, every second time I would try it, because they had it at this big department store in Stockholm called NK. And every second time I thought, oh my God, this is so great. And I couldn't stop sniffing my hand. And then every second time I was in to try it, I thought it smelled like vomit, seriously. So I don't know what it is about this note, but when I see it, I have to be careful not to buy. Okay, so that was my Vanille Absolument that I owned for like 4 days. This I've kept though. This is vintage. It's a great amber fragrance, very floral and powdery and just beautiful. I just took it out to show you the bottle, really. What I've been wearing lately a lot, I just wanted to share, maybe I already did, but I wore it like a lot this summer, and I'm continuing to wear it. And also it's, my God, I see now that I've put a price tag on it, like I was ready to let it go at some point for 800 crowns. Oh no, I'm never going to let this go. My son was wearing it yesterday, and it smells amazing on him, and it smells good on me. I just got a compliment for it the other day. And actually my son has asked me twice when I've been wearing this. And I've been wearing this a lot, like once a week, which is a lot for me. Did I say the name? Patchouly, from Profumum Roma. And the sprayers are not great on this. I don't need to take the sticker off now in this video. Sorry, I just got caught up in that. Because the straw is really thick and the sprays get really big. So they give you, if you buy a 100 ml bottle, they give you a little one like this. And I'm usually against roller balls, but in this case, since their perfumes are so oily, and they do actually recommend to rub them in, because they might stain, you know, if you spray them, because they're so oil, they have such a high oil concentration. I think it's like 30 something percent. I like that you can have this on and you can just kind of give yourself a little, I'm not going to put any on right now, but I will tell you what I'm wearing today. Okay, so this morning, I just had a shower and kind of fixed up a little bit, but before, all morning, I was kind of just walking around in my robe, and I wore, on one hand, I find these fragrances a little bit similar. That's why I was wearing one on each arm, and these are two favorites of mine right now. They also both have the note of patchouli, and one of them is, I managed to get a decant from a friend. It's Iris Céladon from Armani Privé. It comes in a black bottle with a green top. And it is, maybe I mentioned this in my previous video, I'm not sure, but it's a beautiful patchouli fragrance that has iris. I wouldn't say it's an iris fragrance with patchouli. It's a patchouli with iris. And it also has like chocolate and mate. It has aldehydes one of my friends says it doesn't work on her skin because the aldehydes with the patchouli just kind of doesn't work together somehow. But this is a beautiful fragrance. I wish it were a little louder and had a little bit better projection, but it is incredibly beautiful. And I tried it side by side with Amouage's Lilac Love, which I managed to get a 3 milliliter decant of earlier this summer, and I've already been through half. And this has, they both have patchouli, they both have, I think this one has cacao, the other one chocolate, but they have some similarities. There was something more. I can't remember what else. And then they have, this one has a whole bunch of florals in the top. And it's kind of like this is more of a gourmand. This is sweeter. Lilac Love is sweeter. But they're both beautifully powdery. They have about the same type of projection and sustainability. I mean, like how long, the longevity, that's what you call it, the longevity. They're so beautiful, both of these. I would think that probably full bottle worthy. I mean, Lilac Love is expensive, but I saw it now. They're selling the older bottles. It's come out in a new bottle. Kind of the same as, God, what are those other ones called? The Amouage bottles that are marketed towards women, like a little bit of a chubbier bottle. But the old ones are too, and it has a silver cap, I think. They're a little different, but they were selling out the old bottles for quite a good price, like maybe 50-60% of the new price where they're sold most expensively. So I'm a little interested in maybe purchasing a bottle. But now I think of these two, I think Iris Céladon is actually the better fragrance of the two. They're both good, and I think I recommend them both. But that they're maybe not the most long-lasting, most projecting fragrances. I wish they had maybe a little bit more, but if you're looking for a patchouli fragrance that really projects, this is it. This or Psychedelique from Jovoy. And I don't know if you've heard, Jovoy now sells their fragrances in 30 ml bottles, I think, or was it 15? Something smaller than 100 anyway, which I think is great. Okay, so then after my shower, I have now, and I want to really share this because this is a fragrance that I have had a very strong desire to buy earlier, and it's an expensive fragrance, and it's called Jasmin Yucatán from DS and Durga, which is a beautiful kind of tropical floral fragrance based around jasmine, and the note, I think it has like passion flower blossom, and it's just like a really beautiful fragrance. But here comes the big but here. It's beautiful, but it's like, I don't tend to, it's kind of watery, beautiful in kind of a watery way, and there's nothing to complain about, but it still doesn't excite me, and I tend to gravitate towards, this kind of fragrance, and like Lilac Love and Iris Céladon, like Patchouly, like heavier fragrances. I'll never go through a whole bottle of Jasmin Yucatán. And I have already beautiful, fresh, floral fragrances. I don't need another one of those. And this is a little 2 milliliter from my friend's bottle, and I will wear it for sure. And today, to make it more interesting, I tried to layer it with a fragrance called Gendarme, Gendarme. And I think it's called Gendarme, from the house of Gendarme. And this fragrance is a little kind of a weird, masculine, sweaty armpit kind of fragrance, but I thought maybe it would give it a better base, and I think I was right, because I do think it's slightly better and deeper than I remembered it from last time. But I think Jasmin Yucatán is best worn on a hot summer day, and I just realized, living in Scandinavia, we don't have that many days with hot weather. We had a hot spell like 2 weeks ago, even though it was September, but like it's our season, our hot season is so short, and this summer we hardly had any hot weather at all. We had like 25 degrees Celsius and maybe one day with 28, 29, like one day all summer. So this is not what I should be investing in. Depending where you're on in the world, maybe, it's different for you. But I don't know about this Gendarme. I know my friend found this in a thrift shop. It was marked. I think she got it for like $10 somewhere in the States. And it reminds of another fragrance. She says it's identical to a fragrance called Gravel. And I think the house is called Gravel. I can't remember, but there is some gravel in the bottle. And I was really hooked on this fragrance when I smelled it at the counter. There's a store in Stockholm that carries this special perfume. And she said, don't buy it until you have some of this Gendarme fragrance. I don't know about this fragrance. It's kind of one of those, it smells like skin. It smells a little bit like a second skin. And it's nice. It's nice. I don't get like a bad sweaty armpit, like a BO fragrance or anything. It doesn't have any cumin in it or anything. It's nice. Okay, well, anyway, I wouldn't go looking for a bottle, and I'm not going to go looking for a bottle of Jasmin Yucatán either. It's too expensive. These DS and Durga are so expensive. So I should really. Oh, and then I did sell. I'll tell you else. I sold 4 bottles this weekend, like yesterday, and one of them was the Vanille Absolument. The second one was Escale on Haiti from Les Indemudables, and the reason I sold it was I just never wore it. beautiful vetiver citrus fragrance, but I mean, vetiver is something I've explored. I don't tend to reach for it. Again, I'm into ambers and Oriental flavor, Oriental Middle Eastern style fragrances, patchoulis, semi-gourmands. I like iris and musk and stuff, but I don't need a vetiver fragrance. And then I sold I Am Trash from Etat Libre d'Orange, which was really my daughter's bottle, which is an ISO e-super and green apple musk type of fragrance. It's just really low key. I won't use it. I sold it really cheap. And then the last one was, what else did I sell yesterday? Oh no, I did a swap. I finally sold Oud Maximus from Bortnikoff. And I kind of liked it, but finally I thought I had too much frangipani and tropical flowers. It was too sour. And it didn't help that my daughter said that it smelled like urine. That really kind of bothered me. Every time I wore it, I thought about that she thinks I smell like urine when I wear it. And it was so expensive, I had a hard time letting it go. But finally I was offered a bottle of, it was almost full, like I'd only worn it a few times. And I was offered a bottle of Overture from Xerjoff. It comes in a fuzzy gray bottle, like a velvety on the outside kind of bottle, plus 1,500 Swedish crowns. Well, roughly $150 as a swap. So that's now on its way to me. So I've gone down 3 bottles, gained 1, I guess. No, I've let go of 4 bottles and I've gained 1. So 3 I've lost then on my total count. So I've been really accumulating small bottles a lot, like 10ers and 12 and 7.5 milliliter. And I've really gone down on my big bottles. And that's what I'm going to try to continue doing. All right, guys, see you in the next video.